Email marketing has an ROI of about $42 on the dollar return in your small business. Now, I don't know all that much about investing, but that's a pretty dang good ROI. If every dollar that you can put in, you can get $42 back in sales. In fact, some studies would show that number creeping up just a little bit, which again makes email marketing probably one of the most successful marketing strategies that you can do. That is drastically higher than other digital marketing channels. But that's if your emails are actually getting into inboxes and getting opened and getting read. That is critical, and that's why in this video, I'm gonna give you some of my very best email marketing tips. First up, I'm gonna give you 45 different types of email content ideas that you can send out to your email list. And I'm hoping if you couple those with a launch or two in your year, something I talk about all the time over here on my channel, that then rounds out a 12-month period of weekly emails that you could be sending to your email list. Done and dusted. Then I'm gonna show you 4 different types of email sequences that you can set up in your business. I'm also going to give you some over-the-shoulder tutorials of me setting this up so you can kind of see how it would go. Then we're going to move over to subject lines. Get ready to screenshot 7 different types of subject line formulas that you can rinse and repeat all the time as you market your creative small business. Hit that thumbs up button if you're committing to an email marketing strategy this year. Remember that ROI I told you about? And let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, the strategy that I'm unpacking in this video is going to work best if you are a business that's playing more to the long game of your email marketing strategy. So you're really looking to build that relationship with your list, have a relationship that's 2 years, 5 years, even more than that maybe. If that is more your style and your strategy isn't like a daily offer email going out, then I think you'll like this. Also, welcome to my channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ashlyn Carter. I'm a conversion copywriter and launch strategist for creative small businesses because not knowing what to say should not be what's holding you back from making sales. Hit the like button if this is what you need and you think you could grab at least 10 ideas from these 45 I'm about to go through, and let's hit it. I'm going to divvy these ideas up into 3 sections. Number 1, serving focused emails. I remember exactly where I was almost 1 full year in my business at a peer-led mastermind in Savannah, Georgia with some girlfriends, and I was sitting on the floor and I just burst out into tears because I realized I had spent the entire first year of having a copywriting business cranking out email content and sending emails out to other people's lists and not mine. I committed right then in January 2017 to send out 52 emails that year to my list, and I'm proud to say I've done that or more every year since. If anything since then, we've just seen that email continues to be a very fast medium. Trust is the biggest currency that you have with your email list. Every time you send out an email, you are delivering on that promise that you made to them when they first signed up to hear from you. In this serving batch of ideas that I want to give you, I wanted to remind you of the speed of emails and also what that currency is, because about 42% of emails are opened on our phones. So if you're able to really serve up quick content and get it right to people when they need it, that's something that can be so impactful as they are getting hundreds of emails a day. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna pop up these 14 ideas over the side for you to look at. And what I want you to do is try some of these, because I know I talk about funnels and email sequences and autoresponders a lot over here, but do not, hear me on this, do not let the complexity of not having all of those funnels and automation sequences built out hold you back from at least doing this, okay? Try to send these out as you build your welcome sequence out. We have a welcome sequence template in my shop that may even help you out with that. But I can't tell you enough how important it is for you to at least just commit to sending out these broadcasts. Even some of the very best, brightest direct response copywriters that I learned from swear by sending out broadcasts, even though you could have automations up and going. And that is exactly how I feel. I've seen with far too many students and clients that sometimes the analysis paralysis of not having everything spinning like a top holds you back from even starting that email list or starting to send regular emails, and I don't want that to happen to you. Comment below if that analysis paralysis of not having everything built out has ever made you, maybe with email or anything else, held you back from doing just the next thing. If that's you, this also helps me. Just remember that there is somebody out there that doesn't have everything all perfect, but they're going ahead and they're showing up and they're doing it imperfectly. They're sending those emails and they're making more impact and maybe more income because they're not afraid to do it. And don't let that fear of not having everything all perfectly ironed out and smooth hold you back from even sending some of these. Let me roll through these ideas. I think a contest or a giveaway is always a great way to serve. Don't forget about that weekly hero piece of content. I teach that inside Prime to Launch, but sending out that regular rhythmic piece of content is absolutely serving. Related to that, you could give a tutorial, a hack, a quick over my shoulder. What if you just popped a Loom video into the body of the email, and instead of sending them off to a piece of content, you embedded that tutorial right in the email? Always send out your latest freebies. I've done this this one before too, a freebie roundup. One time, it was a while back, I did the top freebies I found that shouldn't be free, and people really appreciated that. So maybe send out something like that. An annual survey or quarterly survey or some type of check-in with your audience absolutely needs to be on your list. You could also do an A/B question, so giving them an opportunity to cast a vote and just linking those two things. So instead of a survey where they're hopping to and spending some more time on a form, you could either just simply ask them a question, ask them to hit respond, or give them an opportunity to click one of two links, have them vote that way. Giving a paradigm shift is a great way to serve, or a new way to look at things related to that. If you can come in as the expert and tip that sacred cow, maybe there is a belief that I swear it is just gospel truth, it has to be this way, but you're gonna come in as the expert and say, actually, that's not true. You're believing something that is completely wrong. Let me show you, I have the proof. I love getting emails like that that blow my mind and make me think, oh my gosh, I've never thought of it that way before, but they're right. That's a great way to serve your audience. And then finally, a remix or a roundup post of some of your best content that you've put out, or even just what you've put out in the past month or so. Okay, that's bucket number one. We're gonna move to number two, more story-driven email newsletter content. As I'm recording this, I'm halfway through pregnancy. Ta-da! Which means I wake up every single night around 3 a.m. absolutely famished and looking for a snack. I actually spend a good bit of time not on social media at all. I love social media breaks, but do you know what tends to never go away? I always have my personal inbox on my phone. I don't check email from my business on my phone, but I love a good personal inbox sweep. According to a McKinsey survey, about 91% of people check their email every day, and like I'd said earlier, almost half of us are looking at it on our phones. Why am I saying all this? Because I want you to write to me, the person that is at 3:30 in the morning, sitting on the couch, eating a snack, can't go back to bed, sitting with their dogs, and just scrolling through email. Write to that person. Every email that you send out, whether it is broadcast or an automation, is an emotional deposit or a withdrawal in somebody's life. Story-driven emails are so important because as you build that know, like, trust, people just want to hear from other people, and you need to tell them why you give a darn about doing all this. I've got 17 different email broadcast ideas for this section that I'm going to put up over the side. For the sake of time, I'm not going to explain all 17, but I want you to start kind of being a pattern recognizer. A lot of times I'm either reading a book or watching a TV show and something will happen and I'll think, there is a good hook or a story that I can tell in an email. Here's another little ninja trick I do. At the end of every day, I try to do what I call story banking and essentially unpack one story or thing that has happened or anecdote I've run into. I put it into an Asana file, and so I just have a record and a database of just random ideas. So when I sit down to write that email newsletter, if I'm totally having writer's block, I can at least look back at this and think, oh my gosh, yes, I wanted to tell that thing that happened when I was watching that show. Sometimes stories are hard to come up with on the spot, so you might as well start collecting them. Then you can take that back to the PASCAL copywriting formula that I talked about in last week's video to structure your email newsletters, and there you have that intro that you can drop people into in the middle of the rising action. Two troubleshooting questions I want to address here because I feel like I get asked, how many emails should I send? Should I send monthly? Should I send weekly? Should I send daily? I have found typically the people that I want to hear from monthly, I wouldn't mind hearing from weekly, and if I wouldn't mind hearing from them weekly, it probably would be okay if they sent me a couple of times a week an email. That's my opinion, but I would at least recommend not sending monthly, sending more than just monthly, and offering people a choice. So they can hear from you monthly, but if they would like to hear from you on a more regular basis, they have that opportunity as well. But just give them the choice. The second thing is length. I get a lot of times people say, how long should my emails be? Or you're a copywriter, your emails are kind of long. Yeah, copywriting isn't necessarily about how absolutely fast and direct can you make something. For every person that says, can you keep your email shorter, there's gonna be 10 people that say, I feel like you're having a conversation with me. So my advice on this is to alternate. Send out different types of emails to your list. That's usually what I do. And then also test it. So you may find one format works better with your audience. I found the best approach to this is to alternate. Send some longer form emails and then also send some shorter forms as well. By the way, I have a video, I'll link it below, where I talk about how to never run out of things to say in all of your content, so that may help you out as well. That brings me to number 3, soft sell email newsletter content. Okay, so the ROI on email is still incredibly high. I am just learning how to invest money, but here's what I do know. Email has an ROI of about 42 to 1, so if I could invest $1 into something and get 42 back, I'm gonna do it. Email is absolutely worth spending on, and when I say soft sell, I'm not talking about a launch campaign, so I'm talking about for all of these email newsletter content ideas when you're not in a launch season, what to send out. These type of emails are not purely transactional, but we are kind of hinting and breadcrumbing in their head that yes, you do this awesome thing and people pay you for it. All right, I'll throw these 8 ideas up over to the side as well. Don't be afraid to share with them other platforms that you're on. If you share your client work there, give me some behind the scenes. I want to see what projects you're working on, and tell me some takeaways that I can even implement in my own life and business from anything that you've got going on. Absolutely share your media hits whenever you get those. I also think a recap of your business or a launch is a great thing to send out. I got an example last year from Cultivate What Matters that made it into my swipe file folder because I thought it was a great idea. Okay, I hope you screenshotted away through that, and don't forget, look down below. I have a swipe file of 42 different email subject line templates that you can use, mix and match with these, and then hopefully crank out those email broadcasts a lot faster. So last year when I was refreshing the copy for my friend and client Jenna's sales page on a list building course that she has, I came up with this big idea. That's what copywriters call the big hook for the sales page. Algorithm proof your business. I mean, we can't count on these social media apps to talk to our people, and that's why I think email marketing is so very important. So hit that like button below if you're ready to get into these, and if, like me, while you love social media, you also respect that it's these for-profit businesses' prerogative to change the algorithm and do what they want with them. We do not own these people, so we need to focus on something we can control, which is our email marketing and our list. We just need to play the game well, and that means having some solid email marketing strategies in place beyond just the monthly or the weekly newsletter. Sequence number 1, a basic sales sequence or product announcement sequence. So quick story, I am a mom. Right now I have a 14-month-old. I bought into a toy subscription that creates these really beautiful, more heirloom quality toys. They're wooden, they're Montessori based. I've loved it. But what I've really liked is how I first signed up for this. They noticed where I was as far as my child's age. So now I get emails about every other week, and it includes activities that I can do with my child at the exact age he is now. It's so helpful, especially for someone who didn't think she was very maternal at first, to actually have activities and crafts and things that I can do with my child that he'll enjoy at the age he is. So let's bring it on back to you in your creative small business. How could you set something like that up for your brides, for your couples, for your art collecting clients, whatever it is that you do? I know I talk about launching all the time, and here I'm not talking about a launch sales funnel so much as an evergreen sales funnel that can always point back to either the one-on-one services, the group coaching services you provide, or your products that are constantly available. You need to have a sequence in place that can always be running in the background of your business, pointing to these things that you have for sale, these opportunities that you have to come in and serve people well. I helped Shay Cochran of SC Stock Shop craft one of these a couple of years ago. I want to show you a little bit of that, and then I also want to show you what it could look like in a tool like ConvertKit to set one of these up for yourself. Here we are in ConvertKit, and I am under the Sequences tab up at the top to set up a sequence so you can see how easy this is. I just want to give you a little tour of this. And then, yes, in full disclosure, I am an affiliate for ConvertKit. I built my email list up to 20,000 on ConvertKit before I moved over, just because, honestly, a lot of the sequencing I was handing off to someone on my team, and she was more versed in Infusionsoft, and so that is what we use now in my business. But I still recommend highly ConvertKit, especially when you're the one DIYing a lot of the sequences, because it's just so user-friendly. And go, feel free to swipe this. I just wanted you to see an example of how you would go through an offer. So I would give 2 priming emails where you're kind of twisting the knife and helping them understand why they need your product or your service. You want to tease and mention the offer by name in this email. And then the next one, I want you to soft pitch it. Go ahead and mention the opportunity. If you can add some sort of a deal or urgency that they're going to get, you want to do that as well. For the next email, give a case study testimonial. For this one, we talked a lot about like how you could use Shay's images to create mock-ups with SC Stock Shop. I'm going to show you an example in just one moment of that, but really kind of digging into how people are using the product or the service, or just a testimonial, and then go ahead and start that hard pitch and then close the offer after that. So this is just an outline, a framework for you to use, but I wanted to show you this. So like I said, this is older. Shay still uses some versions of this. You can go through her, this is not the welcome sequence, this is a sales sequence, but it's pretty great. So this is, I can let you pause and read through it, but this is an example of the middle email. So when you actually soft pitch it, so we have primed, we have made and mentioned the offer, but now we're gonna say why it's created. Go ahead and click here to check it out, etc., etc. So there you go. Sequence number 2, a list cleaning sequence. Okay, so you've seen the movie He's Just Not That Into You, right? Take it back a little further. When the book came out, I was in high school and I was totally emoji hard-eyed for this guy who just Wasn't that into me. I read that book and a light bulb went off. He's just not that into me. What freedom? That is the beauty of a win-back campaign or a re-engagement campaign like this. So sure, maybe it's a little bit of a buzzkill to kick 100, 1,000, or even 5,000 people off of your email list. But do you know what will turn that frown upside down? Boom, you're gonna feel so much better once you see that uptick in the metrics that matter, things like your engagement rate, your click-through rate, your open rate, and even your deliverability. Based on simple statistics and overall industry metrics, you can guarantee you probably have somewhere hovering around a 20% open rate in your emails. Now, I don't know what corner of the industry or what niche you service specifically, but a 20% open rate is kind of ish standard. So the more you grow your email list, the more that 20% number is going to be growing and being more people. This means that bit by bit, this pool of people that are not opening your emails at all, that's just dead weight you're pulling around, and it's costing you money because you're paying for them. You need to get them off your list. They're not interested in buying, they're not your ride or dies. It is okay to delete them. The solution is pretty quick. We're gonna go into it so I can show you the strategy of it. But first, I want you to just pause for a moment, whip out your calendar, and put a reminder, a recurring reminder on your calendar about every quarter or at least 3-ish times a year to do this. Go ahead, comment below, say I did it when you did that so I can hold you accountable to doing this. Okay, let me show you what this looks like. What you're gonna do is send out a series of emails to people who have not really opened or engaged in your emails in the past 3 to 6-ish months. I would recommend that you do this series. I wanted to show you an example of one. So this is from 2018 that I sent out, and I'm going to show you this. So Scout's honor, don't just like swipe copy. But what I wanted to show you is how this worked. So here we go. And then 3% of 1,800 people, well, I just did a math equation, and it turns out to be about 55 people. So that's a good save on just this one campaign that went out. So there's like a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you in here. First of all, I tell them that go ahead and tell them that you're going to remove anyone who's not interested. Don't just send this out and hope that they'll click and that you can pull them in. Go ahead and be very clear in what you're trying to say, that you are going to remove them if they're not interested, and then give them a few different freebie options that can also help you segment them. So based off what they're interested in, and see, I'm trying to segment these people into just starting out, kind of mid-tier, and then a little more advanced of a business owner. So by sending this out, I was able to salvage and pull back some people. And then what I would do is a couple of days later, and I was going to tell you how I'd send these. In ConvertKit, I would send them all broadcast. So I would not actually use an automation. I like doing things broadcast style typically more than automation, because this can be so just fired off without you doing anything. And sometimes, especially on a sensitive campaign like this, I want to be able to get in there and let it be a little more organic. So I would send to these broadcasts. I would send this one. I would send another version of this with a different subject line to everybody who didn't open it 3 to 4-ish days later. And then I would probably 3 to 4 days after that send an email to everybody who had not opened it all, and saying I am removing you if you didn't click, kind of thing. Again, sticking to my brand voice, which tends to be, at least I try to be witty and not harsh or anything. So I would send those 3 pieces of communication and then wait 1 week. And after that 1 week passed, I would go ahead and just remove anybody who did not open or engage with the campaign. And so you do need specifically to tell them, click here to get back on the list. I don't, even looking back at this little tear down style, I don't think I made that super clear that if they didn't click, they'd be removed. And so you want to do that. You really want to get people that are actually going to take action on your emails. Number 3, your welcome sequence. Just like a toy that you open up and it's bright and shiny on Christmas Day and you're most into it those first few days, it's the same way with your email list. Your subscribers are going to be most jazzed and pumped to be there within the first 48 hours. They need to hear from you right after they've signed up, because this is going to be when they're most excited and most likely to be engaged. Now, I'm not going to camp out on this specific sequence too long because I actually have a whole video about it. I will link it down below. You can open it up in another tab and watch it after this video to get the how-to tutorial. So when you're crafting this welcome sequence, eventually the idea is that it goes out to everybody automatically at some point. Now, when it goes out, it's kind of up to you and the strategy that you have in your business. You may want it to go out to people after they go through some kind of sales sequence first. You may want it to go out to them after they have gotten an email separately that delivers whatever free opt-in that you wanted to give them. Or this may be the delivery campaign where you are delivering that opt-in. Like maybe if you only had one signature freebie, this could be a good way to do that. Personally, I have a ton of different freebies, so I have those separately, and then the welcome sequence stands on its own. After the welcome sequence, I like to push people into what I call my bottomless broadcast series. Some people call this like your newsletter sequence. The big goals of your welcome sequence are to nurture, to share your story, to overcome objections, and really put your stake in the ground. Take a stand for something you believe in. You also want to help your clients or your customers make some mindset shifts that they may need to make in order to work with you in the future. Like I explained in that welcome sequence video, this is your opportunity to pull out your very best, your choice sparkling bubbles, and give them a toast and welcome them inside. I also have a welcome sequence template in my copywriting template shop. I'll link it down below, but it's pretty much kind of fill in the blank, and you can use it and stretch it whether you are product-based or service-based. And number 4, the oops sequence, also known as the ghosted series. You can use this sequence when you haven't emailed your list in a while, or if you're more like me, if sometimes you find this entire segment of your email list that, oh my gosh, something went wrong in tech land and they didn't get connected and they haven't been introduced, how do you pull them back in? Okay, so you know Cousin Eddie in Christmas Vacation? The goal is not to be like him here. I feel like the family is always like, how are we related to this guy? Where did he come from? So that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to come zooming back into your subscribers' inbox after it's been a while, after they've kind of forgotten about you and moved on with their lives, and then come in all splashy and be like, hey guys, I'm back. I know you've been wondering why you haven't heard from me, or just anything weird like that. Don't do it. My solution to that, play it cool. Don't be weird. So this is a 2-part email strategy that should get you back on track with your list. I'll show you is how we sent out these. This was just a 2-part campaign. So what we did, I found this entire list, and this, I mean, it happens when you're moving lots of lists and there's lots of working parts, and so we found a chunk of the list that was not getting the bottomless broadcast. So what happened was I apologized. I tried to make it kind of funny, and after that, I just put them back into a big piece of content, a pillar piece of content that had gone out that week. It happened to be the week that I moved into my little home office above the garage, so it was kind of a nice little lifestyle piece to go there. And then at the end, this is what I wanted you to see. I have one more happy to send you as an apology. Watch for an email that says Sparkler. And then a few days later, we sent them a coupon, like a happy that they could use. So you could do that with anything, an extra freebie, just whatever you could. And yeah, I loaded this one up with freebies. These people had it been like a good 3-ish months before they'd gotten communications from me. So yeah, we definitely had some unsubscribes on that, but I just wanted you to see how to slide in without being all weird uncle, and just try to make them smile and surprise and delight them along the way by offering collateral that you have and gifts. About 28% of consumers said that they would like to receive more than just one email a week when it comes to marketing that they're hearing from their favorite companies. Again, if these are your ride or dies and they really like you and want to hear from you, don't freak out about sending them an email. A lot of you want to be able to send out that weekly piece of content to your email list, but you have like writer's block when it comes to figuring out what to say, or you aren't quite sure what to say and what order to push people to your blog, to your podcast episode, your YouTube episode, whatever it is. So I'll go ahead and lay out the formula. It's called PASCAL, like Blaise Pascal, the guy you studied in high school math. Has nothing to do with him except he's French and I'm a little Francophile, so there you go. In my little ecosystem of content that I push out, where you may have seen this or interacted with it, I do believe strongly in a weekly, regular, rhythmic piece of hero content in your business. I've taught nearly 6,000 of you this inside Prime to Launch, but this is an example of one that you're watching right now. This is a hero piece of content. I'm going to spend the lion's share of my time creating a weekly thing, and at least one email every single week is going to push to that piece of content. So this 6-step formula that I've just told you about accounts for, I would say, way over 80% of every weekly email I send out. There's that 80-20 Pareto's principle in action. It is reused over and over again. So let's go through the formula. The first piece of the copywriting formula is the problem. The first thing I'm going to do in the body copy of the email is drop the reader in the middle of the rising action. I'm going to speak specifically to a problem that that reader has. Here I want you to focus on something specific that your ideal reader has as a problem. If you've heard me talk about my PARIS sales copywriting formula before, then you know that a lot of people that I work with and a lot of people I teach consider themselves to be in more of an industry of beauty or luxury, and it's kind of hard. Those people tend to come to me and they say, I don't necessarily solve a problem. Let me know if that's you. I've heard that before. If that's you, then what I want you to think about instead is how to speak to what that person is pining for. What do they want so badly? What is that dreamlike state? Be aware that I said I want to drop them in the middle of the rising action. I'm not going to wind up. I'm not going to come way back and explain the backstory. I'm also going to keep this sentence fairly short because I want to kind of coach the opportunity for them to keep moving through the email. And if I come in with this big bulwark of a block text right off the bat, that's not really encouraging to keep reading. 9 times out of 10, it's a fairly short sentence. This also speaks to why it is so important to be constantly listening to and surveying your audience. Hit subscribe and the bell next to it. Next video, I'm focusing a lot on email marketing this month, and next video is going to talk about the different types of emails and content that you can send out to your email list. So one of them will be the survey. Okay, we've come out, we've said the problem or what they're pining for. The next part 2 of the formula, is agitating or amplifying that. First line of copy, check. Second line or 2 of the copy, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time poking the bear, just reminding my audience that yes, this is a problem they want to solve. This is something that has either been plaguing them or just on their to-do list that they can't get off. It's that thing they're dreaming for so much. I just want to spend some time empathizing with them and letting them know, I hear you, I've been there too. Maybe I'm painting a quick picture about how bad it used to be for me if I'm doing more of a hero's journey style email. Maybe I'm talking about how that desire splinters out and affects so many other things in your life. Maybe I'm talking about how I hear this all the time. This is a big problem in the industry. It's not an isolated incident and a lot of us are struggling with it. For this part of the copy, I know the question may come up, well, how long? And it's that age-old answer. The copy should be as long as it needs to be to get the point across. This could be a line. I've done that before. This may be more of a little bit of body copy. 2 things. 1, to help continue to make sure your reader is moving through, don't be afraid to try or at least test with your list, styling up your copy, underlining, bolding, just kind of playing around with the visual elements of the words. Like I said in step 1, we want to keep that pace up and we don't want to give them an opportunity of feeling like, oh, I'll never finish this email. I'll just save it for later and never look at it. So see if you can help them get through it. Also, at this point, you may be thinking, Ashlyn, I don't think you made up this problem agitation thing. I didn't. Problem agitation solution is like the Ray-Ban Wayfarers of copywriting formulas. Classic, tried and true. But it needs a little something extra to really jive with your email newsletters, and that's why I'm gonna bring in the end, so stay with me. Naturally, that brings me to step 3, the solution. Aha. Right here in the email, I want you to give them that aha moment, that paradigm shift, that mindset shift, that nugget where it makes the email worth the time it took to even open it up and read it. Don't be afraid to go ahead and teach in the body copy of the email itself and spend some time here explaining that if, again, it merits more than just a line. If you need to explain a bit of the how-to and give them steps or truly explicate that and pull it out, then go ahead and do it. Like I said, I can't tell you how much it is worth making that email worth the time it took to open by giving them that golden nugget that made it worth the click. This is also part of the trust building. The whole currency that you have when you're marketing in general, but definitely in your email list, is building that trust with your audience and showing them that you are worthy of being read, you're worthy of taking up that precious space in your inbox. So make this juicy. Let me know too, can you comment below if this is starting to make sense, or even if you're like me and you just hate opening up emails that were not even worth it. And definitely don't want your audience thinking that. This S is critical for making sure they're not feeling that way. All right, step number 4, this is where things get spicy. C is for chance. Now you want to open the door to the new opportunity or possibility or thing that they can go out and do, that they've got this golden nugget in hand. I've never seen Frozen before, but I know that song Love is an Open Door, so just this is the moment where they should see the doors open, the birds flying, and they think, oh my gosh, look what I can do now that I have this in my back pocket. Why is knowing this better than the old way of thinking? What could now totally change for them? For the A and the S part of the formula, I kind of let you freak what you feel a little bit on length. When we come here, I have found it's best to just state this simply. Remember, right at that 6th grade reading level, just say it like it is. Tell them that new opportunity that they have. All right, keep going with me. Step number 5 of the formula. Yes, we have them on this mountaintop of look and see what's possible. This opens up a new can of worms, or a new set and situation of problems or things that must be solved because they have achieved a new level of understanding. So the A brings us right back to the same type of A that was earlier. Agitate or amplify this new solution that they have. Again, you should have given them enough that they've got some info to go on, but maybe now you can explain how you apply this system in your life, in your business, or how a client or a customer does. Maybe now that I know this, there's a new set of situations that must be solved, and you're gonna give me the playbook on how to get through that. That brings us straight to number 6, the link, the call to action, the whole thing that this sales email was selling in the first place, which was that click at the bottom of the email. You're positioning now as a solution, the offer page, the product page, the sales page, or maybe that hero piece of content, that blog, podcast, episode, whatever it is. Remember, the entire point of the email is to sell this link. So if you're applying that weekly content strategy like I teach inside Prime to Launch, boom, there you have it. There is an email newsletter copywriting formula that you can use over and over again. I truly cannot count how many times I've used this as a structure. I've just written out all these 6 steps and then I've gone through and filled it in, and truly the email writes itself. This is exactly the kind of email structure you can send out every single week to your email newsletter list. Don't forget to head to the link below where you can grab my list of 42 different email subject lines, swipe file party starters. You can download these and use them to plug and play in your own business and split test along the way. Now you know how to write and construct that weekly email newsletter, but what about that subject line? I've got last week's video teed up for you where I take you through 7 different subject line formulas. Sure, you can swipe all day, but until you know the psychology kind of behind the structure of them, they don't quite make sense. So I think that video will help you out as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Here's to working from a place of more rest, less hustle, and I'll see you in the next one.